It's a boring green Thursday, and somebody gives salam, the least you should do is respond with a active salam, like you're awake, not asleep. So we will do another rehearsal of this. I hope to hear everyone from the top of their lungs return the salam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, Allah Ta'ala reward you abundantly for attending today's monthly lecture. As you all know and are aware, that the last Thursday of every month, it is very commonly and famously being known as a Green Thursday. Inshallah, a new initiative that the brothers here have come up with, that the last Thursday of every month, inshallah, we will be holding a talk in this center, AlMustafa Center. It's good to see, mashallah, a good turnout. There are various topics that will be discussed. Last time, the topic that I discussed was, I forgot myself. It was the grave and the day of judgment. MashaAllah, young brother has a very good memory. My memory doesn't serve me well these days. But yes, it was the grave and the day of judgment. Alhamdulillah, it was a good talk. Many brothers attended from far and wide. Birmingham, I think there's a few brothers who will be coming from Birmingham again for today's talk as well. That is on drugs and alcohol and clubs and these social problems that many youngsters are facing. Just one very important announcement before I begin, that Salatul Asr will be at 8:30 inshallah. I've just performed my Salatul Asr thinking that Asr has been performed, but inshallah 8:30 Salatul Asr will be performed in Jama'at. I will conclude my speech before then and I will make moves as I have other things to do straight after. But inshallah Salatul Asr will be at 8:30. Everyone read the Asr Salah and then inshallah they can make ways home. My speech is not going to be that long, inshallah. I hope and intend to conclude my speech by in an hour or so, an hour and 10 minutes, inshallah. I hope that Allah Ta'ala grants us all tawfiq to understand what is going to be said, and Allah Almighty grants me tawfiq to speak the truth. Ultimately, tawfiq is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ الْعَلِيِّ الْعَظِيمِ. Alhamdulillah. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبارك وسلم أبدا. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنساب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. آمنت بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. والصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا نبي الله. والصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending infinite salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the awakener of our souls, the most honored one, the most revered one, the most praised one, none other than Sayyiduna wa Nabiyyuna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barak wa sallam. The title of the topic that I've been given to discuss with yourselves and to talk about and shed light on one of this new initiative of Green Thursday, as it's a Thursday, is none other than drugs, alcohol, clubs, thugs, pubs, anything that ends with z. Basically, that's what it is. This is a topic that I've discussed many times. I am not a social worker, I am not a youth worker, I am not a counselor, I am neither of these things. Anything that I say in these talks that you have heard many a time before and that is present on YouTube at this moment in time, it is from my own understanding of the street. And it's my understanding that I have gained, especially when I give religious advice from the Quran and the Sunnah. The aim of this talk and the talks that are related to social illnesses, as abusing drugs and alcohol is a social illness, an illness that many Muslim brothers and sisters are suffering from. Unfortunately, there are more and more young brothers, lads, boys, mandens, sisters who are ever increasingly turning towards drugs and alcohol. And there are many reasons for why they are. One of them, for many of the young boys out there, they think it's something cool. They think it's cool to be smoking drugs, drinking alcohol, because the crowds that they hang around with, the boys they chill with, even the sisters who they chill with, because they're smoking, they're drinking, then they think, you know what, if I don't do it, then I'm left out. I ain't part of the crew. I will only be considered part of the crew or one of the boys when I am doing what they are doing. And for many of the young boys and sisters out there, this concept of peer pressure is what leads them towards abusing and using drugs and alcohol. Other people refer to drugs and alcohol as a recreational pastime. Oh no, Imam Sahib, I've been doing it since I was a kid, I never stopped, so I just now and again occasionally, you know, have the odd wacky backy and you know, knock a few, you know, bottles down me and that. When I'm feeling low, Imam Sahib, I got stress in my life, I'm stressed out, too much headache, family, kids, mortgage, So you know what, I turn to these things to remove this stress from my life, to ignore this. You know what people fail to understand, and I remember when I was in school, when we used to study in, what's that lesson, PHSC, citizenship, you know these lessons you have. I remember they used to talk about drugs and alcohol and sex education and all these things. When they used to talk about drugs and alcohol, it is common knowledge to everyone that when you smoke these drugs, you inject them, you snort them, you sniff them, whatever you may do, however you may do it, whether it's cocaine, heroin, marijuana, A, B, or C, or even D, whatever it may be, when that person takes a dose of it, has a session with his boys, that moment he feels like all the stress in the world has gone, because the drugs blocks his emotional. The emotion in his system, it blocks it out. It becomes emotionless and kind of motionless as well. Not only does he lack emotions, he lacks motion. His brain slows down and everything becomes slow for him depending on what drug he takes. When he goes through this stage, that feeling that he's getting, yeah man, I'm on a high, I feel good, I'm doing this. He feels fantastic with himself. Then when the symptoms runs out, you know, when it dies down, whether it's the alcohol he's drinking or whether it's the waki-baki that he's on, whatever it may be, what he finds is that inside him there's an emptiness. You know, every person, every human has this emptiness inside him. There's always something inside our nature that's empty. We need it filling. Kids find that they fill that emptiness with computer games. Lads find it through music. Some people find that they feel this emptiness through drugs and alcohol. Some people find that they feel this emptiness by committing adultery. Some people find that they feel this emptiness by getting married. This emptiness inside us, when that lad begins to abuse drugs or begins to drink alcohol and becomes an alcoholic, he now is finding something that's filling that emptiness inside him. When he finds that emptiness being filled inside him, what does he do? He feels good. He doesn't feel empty no more. But what we have to find is when you turn to the creation to fill this emptiness, in the end you will always remain empty. Because what can the creation give to the creation? What can man give to man? Man is just the excuse, it is Allah who gives everything. No matter how much you want to fill this emptiness, to have this everlasting peace inside you, that will only be fulfilled when you connect to Allah Almighty. For indeed, He is Al-Baqi. He is Al-Baqi. His sifat, Al-Baqiyu, means He is the ever-remaining, everlasting. He will always be there. Everything around us will end. When you connect to the everlasting, the one who will always be there, then tell me what sadness can come into that person's life. But when you go for that drugs or alcohol, or that chill with the boys through the streets, that moment, that's a momentary buzz, temporary buzz. And what do these drugs have inside them? They have something called an addiction. There is something inside them that when you take it, your system wants it again and again and again. He started by taking one pull of a zoo, one pull of a spliff. And from one pull, it became two pulls, became three pulls. Before you know it, the man was doing blowbacks. True. Before you know it, he was doing all these maneuvers like this, like he's going to go kiss her or something, or him. He's doing all these things. When he smokes up inside there, and fumes go inside him and he's on a high. Temporary for that moment. Then he it comes back to him. He feels empty again. So he's looking, how am I going to fill this emptiness? You know, this sadness inside me, how am I going to fill it? How am I going to use my time? A lot of people use these drugs to fill the time. They want to fill this time up. I've got time on my hands, what do? The boys are doing it, chalo, I'll have a pull or two, no harm. I'll have a sip or two. So when these people do this, what happens is they are drawn back again and again. What started with one, now he's become an addict. Now he's become addicted to it. He can't live without it. He wakes up in the morning and he's chonging. In the evening, he's chonging. That's it. Everything, morning, evening, his whole life revolves around spliffs now. Go look at the junkies out there. I openly say, go look at the people who abuse it. You will see any money that they have, whether it's a tennis bag, 20, 8, 10, whatever it may be. He's going to go, whatever he gets, save the money and will blow it on drugs. And if you look at that person who all his life, 20, 30 years has been spending it on drugs and alcohol, man, the guy could have had hundreds of thousands in his savings account now. He's wasted so much money. And you know who suffers in the end? If we look at who suffers, we see that he is the one who suffers the most. There is no one who is more harmed by this than yourself. You are doing zulm to yourself, you are oppressing yourself. Allah in the Quran talks about it. That there are people who wrong themselves, they oppress themselves by doing bad. By doing bad things, they oppress themselves. When a person begins to oppress himself, and if he was to take this word oppression, which in the Arabic language translates to zulm, this oppression, zulm, it's anecdoted to another word, darkness. When you think of oppression, when you think of zulm, you think of darkness. What does that person do? He's walking alone in dark. When that person is dark, and he's looking for light, and everything he's doing is making everything around him dark. A good hadith comes to mind which relates to this point about darkness. How a person, when he wrongs himself, becomes dark. Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said that when a person wrongs himself, when a person commits a sin, every sin that he does, every time he commits a sin, every time he wrongs himself, there is a black dot that appears on his heart. Imagine, for example, this iPhone 5 is a heart. Just for example, imagine this to be a heart. Unfortunately, I don't have the white iPhone. It would be a good example. It's black, and I'm going to make a point about black dots appearing. It's already black. So it kind of rules it out. But ignore the phone. Just imagine this is a heart. You have a heart there. Every time you do a sin, a black dot appears on it. See, this iPhone screen is quite dirty. If you don't look after it, it's going to get dirty. If you don't look after your heart will get dirty. It's as simple as that. How do you look after your heart? I will come to that. You take this iPhone, for it to be a heart. This heart now, every time you sin, a black dot appears on it. Every time, whether it's a swear, whether it's a lie, whether you backbite and talk behind people's back, whether you slander and accuse somebody, whether it's a person who misses his namaz, whether it's a person who steals something, whether he commits haram with his hand, listens to music, whatever it may be, every time he does a sin, a black dot appears on his heart. One by one, every time he sins, black dots appear. This black dot signifies and is an example of a person how dark his heart is becoming. When his entire heart is enveloped with this darkness now, that everything around is become dark. Now that heart is dark, that heart is lost, that heart has no source of light inside him. When that heart has no source of light coming inside there, inside this heart, that heart now inclines and tells him, go on, carry on. You've had one pull, nobody found out, have another pull. Keep doing wrong. And he keeps on sinning and sinning and sinning. And before you know it, that person is absorbed in sin. He's so deep in sin that now it's very hard for him to get out of this. He's lost. He's oppressing himself. And you see that. You see it on his face. You know, a believer, when you look at a believer's face, you can see the nur on that person's face. A person who is a sinner, you can see the darkness on a sinner's face. You can tell that person is sinning. You can see it because why? The person is absolved, is drowning in sin. And a person is drowning, he's looking and calling out for help. Some people have this much in their mind that they need help. So they go to the imams, they go to the relevant people. Some people are so lost in this dunya that they don't turn to nobody for help. They say, brother, I don't need no help, I'm fine. How many brothers have you come across or sisters? Well, you said, brother, when are you going to sort yourself out, man? You need to stop this chonging and this drinking alcohol and selling bud on the street and being a dealer and whatever else. When? And he says, bro, when the time's right. What's it to you? I'm doing it. I'm selling it to people. What an excuse. I'm selling it to a non-Muslim. The guy goes, I am dealing it to my own brothers. Brother, I'm dealing it to non-Muslims. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. What kind of excuse is that to justify selling drugs? In no circumstances will drugs be justified to sell. And no doubt it will not be justified, especially when a person says, oh, he's not a Muslim, I can sell it because he ain't a Muslim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. One lad, those of you who are coming in, expecting Salatul Asr to be at 7:30, just to re-announce, Salatul Asr will be at 8:30 inshallah, after the talk. Give me some more. You see, there was this young lad who was studying in school. This is a true story that I heard from a teacher. I won't mention which school and I don't know who the lad is anyway. But he told me this story. He said the lad was about to get kicked out from school. His parents were called in. He was going to meet the head teacher. Before meeting the head teacher, he met this guy. This teacher was a Muslim. They said, you know, your son messes around, this and that. He said, you know, what can I do? His elder brother is a drug dealer. His elder brother deals. And his elder brother has influenced him and he thinks he's a bad boy as well and so on and so forth. Chalo. Fine. And the guy said to him, said to the mother, mother, you know, why don't you like sort your kids out? Like, don't you have an issue that your son's selling drugs? She said, no issue. Why? Because he doesn't deal to Muslims. Because he deals to non-Muslims, it's fine. I don't have a problem with my son doing it. Brothers, sisters, if mothers and fathers allow their sons to do it, then what do you expect the younger brothers to do? And today, if it's not your house, possibly the house next to you, possibly the second house down, third house, somebody is suffering from the issue of drugs and alcohol. Which leads me to another continuation of the point of suffering. He suffers and his mother and father suffers. His family suffer. They have to suffer on his hands. And imagine you causing pain to your mother and father. When pain was caused to you, when something went wrong in your life, who felt that pain? Of all the people in this world, who feels the pain? Your mother and father. And today now, you become a big boy or a big girl. And now you're causing pain and harm to your mother and father. You think your mother and father doesn't know what you do? When you walk into the house at 2, 3 in the morning on a Friday night, on a Saturday night, Saturday morning, 2, 3 a.m. Well, tell me, what is there out open at 2-3 a.m.? Which Primark is open at that time? Which Asda is open at that time? And I'm not talking about the 24-hour. No, the 24-hour Tesco. Tell me, what's open at that time? You see, the real businesses are closed, Shaitan's business is open then. At night, Allah Ta'ala created the night to sleep in. Yes or no? Night was created to rest and sleep in. But for Shaitan, he had other ideas. For him, the night was created to play. Shaitan is awake at night, so he wants to keep you awake at night. He says, yeah, night time, open the pubs, clubs, thugs, everything. And that's it, the lads walk in there. 2-3 in the morning, they come home. And they think their parents don't know, they sneak in. Quietly, you know, Amiro Jagme. Dad wakes up. Mother and father, maybe first night, second night worried. Before you know it, they're used to everything. They know what their son is like. To the point that they don't know how to control their son no more. What do I do? My sons are out of control now. What can I do to sort my son out? And how true? The son, the daughter, now, astaghfirullah liyadu billah. Sisters are going out at 2-3 in the morning. Parents will allow them. Parents won't stop them. Parents won't say a word to them. Parents are scared of their children. The day has come when parents are scared of the children that they gave birth to. And children ain't scared of the parents no more. One thing that me and you have lost, and many young people are losing, is the fear factor. Brothers and sisters, we're losing the fear factor. Probably the person that you was the most scared of was your father. Now kids ain't scared of their fathers no more. Brothers give answers, kids give answers to their parents like they own their parents. In my time and before my time, when we was young, even if we looked into our father's eye, our father would tell us straight, "But who are you to look into my eyes? I'm your father." Today, he stands there like that. Thinks he's some hero telling his dad, "Yeah, what are you going to do?" If he can talk to his dad like that, today Maulvi Sahib comes to him and says, "Putter, sort yourself out. Bro, sort yourself out." I said, "Bro, my dad can't tell me. Who are you to tell me?" How true? Today, this is the answers kids give you, man. My dad doesn't tell me, who are you to tell me? My dad doesn't stop me. The girl says, my dad doesn't stop me from not wearing a hijab. Who are you to tell me to wear a hijab? If your dad was a Maulvi and he stopped you, then I'd say, "Man, your dad's messed up." Because Islam tells you and he knows the deen. If your dad doesn't know the deen, I don't blame your father. He doesn't know what's right and wrong. But those who do know what's right and wrong from Islam, why are you denying them? And people become defensive. You meet these dealers, you meet these people who are on drugs and so on and so forth, they become so defensive, man. Now, bro, I don't do it. Brother, the symptoms are on your face. Check your eyes out. Check your lips out, your teeth out. Look at your fingernails. And you sit there denying to me, "Brother, I don't do it." One guy, Allahu Akbar, funny world we live in. Where I live, drug dealing happens. I know. Born and bred on those streets. Exactly. Next man says to me, he says, "Imam Sahib." He doesn't say Imam Sahib, he doesn't know me as Imam Sahib, I'm his neighbor. He said, "Listen, bro, there was a time BD3 boys used to come and deal here. You should be happy that we're in their place now. So no outsider comes to our street." I said, "What kind of justification is that? That your mother and father live next door to me. You're trying to justify? You're trying to justify that. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Your justification to deal drugs on this street is that you're doing it because it's your street and no BD3 boy is coming to do it. No matter what, there is no justification. Just as Allah Ta'ala had prohibited and made haram alcohol, the alcohol is haram for Muslims to drink in this dunya. In exactly the same manner, any other intoxication, and this includes drugs, whether it's C, B or A, whatever class it may be, they come into the same ruling as alcohol. It is haram to smoke drugs, sniff drugs. It is haram to deal drugs, whether it's a Muslim or a non-Muslim. Why? How are you earning this money? Is this a halal way? You're supplying drugs to kill somebody. For verily drugs kill. You're supplying this to kill, and then you're justifying it by saying it's not Muslim. Brothers and sisters, these are many excuses and reasons that have come to my ears that I've heard for people trying to justify this. The sad reality is this, that these people are missing the true permanent ingredient of success and sakoon, which is Islam, which is Allah Almighty. Another point to bear in mind, I know people who read namaz, who fast in Ramadan, who have big beards and wear jubbas, and they still deal drugs. Still deal. Ramadan, around the corner, isn't it? You think the guy who's rolling in thousands in a week, for Ramadan he's going to stop it? Chalo, he'll say from Sahari till Iftari, I'll close the shop. And after Iftari, I don't read Taraweeh, so I'll go back on my dealing game. And that's what people do. And he says, bro, I fasted. So you've done a good deed. Allah Ta'ala accepted. Then you went and sold drugs. Bro, the deeds have all gone out the window. Because you've done one good deed and you've added 10 every pick or drop off that he does in Ramadan. And tell me if it doesn't happen. Of course it happens. Lads still do it in the month of Ramadan. Because why? They're greedy. They're greedy for money. They're chasing the dunya. The dunya wasn't created for you to chase it. Let the dunya chase you. Don't chase the dunya. What's happened today is we have begun to chase this dunya. We are chasing after the desires, the lavishness of this dunya, which has led to many people being lost in the dunya, and they don't know how to find themselves out, find a way out of this now. Imam Sahib, I'm caught up in this dunya. Caught up, man, I'm too deep in it. How are you going to get out of it? You tell me how you are going to get out of that. Find a way to change. This is a major problem and issue, drugs and alcohol. Massive problem in Bradford. And other cities, Birmingham, Sheffield, Nottingham, London. Sadly, where there are our brethren, you will always have a group, a crowd that are into this game. And then young people get sucked up inside it. Those who probably don't have a job, no degree, their life's not working out, so bit of quick money, chalo, we'll deal. What kind of justification is that to do that? Because you can't get a good job, so you think, I'll earn money in this haram. Get married, you're feeding your wife this haram. Then you're feeding your kids this haram. And then you expect your kids to become Maulanas when you feed them haram. True, isn't it? You expect your kids to be pious and good when the food that you put on the table is earned from haram. That haram is going down their throat. That haram is inside their body. That haram is making them think haram. And then you want everything to be halal. The Sahaba, one morsel of haram that went inside them, they would put their fingers into their throat and vomit it back up. Even if they ate a food that wasn't meant to be for them, they considered that food unlawful. That wasn't my food. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq came home, ate something that wasn't his. Later his daughters told him that wasn't. There and then Sayyidina Siddiq al-Akbar vomited it all back up. There and then. Everything came back up. He said, this is not halal for me.
This person went to Hajj. He said, Ya Allah, I'm doing Hajj for your sake, everything. A voice came and said, your Hajj is rejected. Why? What you're wearing is haram. You've earned it from haram. This ihram you bought wasn't from halal money. You think your Hajj is rejected. Today drug dealers think they can go Hajj, they can go Umrah, and it will justify everything. When they come back 3-4 weeks down the line, it's back to normal. What's changed? This is why it goes back down to that point of the heart. When the heart becomes dark, when darkness and zulmat comes onto the heart, that person's mind becomes dark. For the Prophet ﷺ said, indeed in the body there is a piece of flesh. If that flesh becomes clean and pure, then the entire body will become clean and pure. If that piece of flesh is impure, if that piece of flesh becomes embroiled in filth and napaki, the entire body will become impure and filthy. The Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, ma hiya? What is this piece of flesh? And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, Ala wa hiya al-qalb. Take heed and understand that it's the heart. If the heart becomes impure, then the entire body will become impure. If the heart becomes clean, then the entire body will be clean. For the heart has connection to the mind. The heart has connection to every limb in the body. And if the heart thinks haram, and if you are feeding the heart haram, then the mind will think haram. When you listen to haram, the mind will think haram. And that's it. What does he end up doing? Haram. He gets embroiled into this. This is why, brothers and sisters, people say, just a little bit of alcohol is fine. It doesn't make me drunk. If I get drunk, then alright, I understand Imam Asim. If I take one pull and I'm not high. The ruling is this, and it's simple. You give an inch, people will take a mile. If I said to you, yeah bro, you can have 2 pulls. You can have 2 pulls. If you don't get stoned, it's fine. No. Because that 2 pulls will go to 3 pulls, 4 pulls. Before you know it, the man's chonged an entire suit and spliff. He's had it all gone. And then he's high. And he'll say, oh, Imam Sahib said I can take 2. And I thought, chalo, I'll take a bit more than 2, which led me to this. So, what do the ulama say? Instead of giving people an inch, close the door completely. You can't do any of it. Even though in the Quran, people say, oh, Allah Ta'ala said there's some good in alcohol, and there's no bad. Well, you're going to take the some good. That some good was abrogated. Allah Almighty in the Quran said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, or you who believe, innamal khamru, indeed alcohol, wal maisiru, gambling, wal ansabu wal azlamu, these divine arrows and these slaughtering on other than the name of Allah on stones. Rijsum min amali shaitan. These are from the impure actions of shaitan. Fajtanibuhu, stay away from it. It's simple, stay away from all of these, so that you may become the successful people. And then Allah Ta'ala said, Innama yukiu, that indeed, Innama shaitana yukiu bainakum al-adawata wal-baghdai. Shaitan, what does he want to do? He wants to incite hatred. He wants to create hatred between the brothers. He wants to create animosity. And how does he stoke it? How does he create this? Through alcohol, through drinking. For when a person begins to drink, when he gets drunk, he doesn't know what's around him. He loses his senses. This is why one of the names of alcohol is khamar. And khamar, what does it mean? Ma khamar al-aqal. Something that intoxicates the aqal, the mind. Something that takes this away from you. And that's what it does. Drugs do that. Alcohol. This is why the awliyaullah, they said anything that you get addicted to, anything that takes you away from Allah Almighty, that thing is haram. This is how strict they were. The men of Allah was so strict that anything that took them away from Allah, it was considered haram to them. Maybe it wasn't haram in Sharia. Maybe you're allowed to do that. But to their standard. You see, not everybody's on the same standard. Some people, for example, Junaid Baghdadi, famous story I've narrated. He used to love carrots. That carrot he dipped into honey. Is eating a carrot haram? No, you can eat carrots. But he didn't eat the carrot. He said, I don't want this carrot. To him the carrot was haram. Why? Halanki it's halal. There's no doubt the carrot is. But by his standard was high. His standard was so high that even if a carrot took him away from Allah, he wouldn't have that carrot. And we are so far from that mentality. We are so far from that lifestyle that this is what you call taqwa. This taking precaution in what is halal and haram is what you call taqwa. People today go into restaurants and food chains. They will not look at where that food has been made from. They will not analyze that food. They will not check whether it was stunned, whether it was slaughtered in a halal way, whether it was put in an oil where there was swine that was mixed in it, ham that was mixed in. They won't, nah brother, I'm going to eat it. But a muttaqi, pious man of Allah, even when it comes to a morsel of food, he will take care in where did I get this food from? Where did I get this food from? Is this food in a halal way or a haram way? That's what you call taqwa. It's precaution, piety. The more pious a person becomes, the more precaution he begins to take. Remember that. And if you come across brothers who are very cautious in what they do, don't mock these people. You're mocking a man who has piety inside him. If a person doesn't take that food and he doesn't consider, don't. I've met brothers in South Africa, the shuyukh have told them don't eat meat. For how do you know that meat is halal for you? How do you know that meat is slaughtered in a halal way? How much precaution? And most of the things that we do haram is from the food that we eat. This haram mentality that comes in our mind, this unlawful mentality comes from the food we eat. Imam Ghazali has an entire chapter in his Ihya on it. Imam Ghazali has an entire chapter on food and how to suppress the disease of gluttony and greed. People become very greedy for food. When the stomach has haram, that haram begins to talk inside his body and it leads to haram. This is why what did the awliya Allah used to do? They would fast. They would fast for days on end. People, this precaution is something that we are leaving. A sign of piety is a man who takes precaution. That's the key. He's cautious in everything he does. The clothes he wears. Look, Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, aka very famously known as Al-Ghawth Al-A'zam, the great Shaykh, Shahinshah Baghdad, Shahbaz al-Makani, Ghawth al-Samdani, very famous throughout the entire subcontinent and the Muslim world, renowned for his karamat and miracles. A man who in his qasida writes, دَرَسْتُ الْعِلْمَ حَتَّى صِرْتُ قُطْبًا, I sought knowledge until I became the greatest Ghawth of my time. I became the greatest spiritual master of my time. Qutb al-Aqtab. Their father, look at the taqwa their father had. Their father ate an apple. When they had taken a bite from this apple, you know what came into their mind? We would eat something and we would never think whose this food is. He said, I've taken a bite of this apple. Is this apple mine or not? This apple isn't even mine. Allahu Akbar. So much precaution on an apple. What's an apple, man? To me and you, an apple's nothing. But for the men of Allah, this apple was everything. Why? Because where did he get this apple from? Was this halal for him or haram? So he said, I need to find where this apple. He found this apple near the stream. And the stream led him all the way to the king of that time. When he came to the king, he said, I ate an apple from your garden. I didn't ask your permission before I ate it. Look at that piety. Look how much precaution he took. He said, whatever punishment you want to give me, give me. These people they would rather be punished in the dunya than be punished in the akhirah. If something wrong happened, they would rather that the punishment comes here. For in the punishment of the akhirah is severe. Inna batsha rabbika la shadid. Indeed, the anger, the grief, the punishment of Allah Almighty is very severe. When the apple, he said, you will serve me. The punishment is you will become my servant. Allahu Akbar. Hussain Azam's father, at this time Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani has not been given birth to, he's not around. Their father begins to serve. There's ikhtilaf in how many years they served. Some say 11 years, some say 2 years. Whatever it may be, after a period of service to the king said, look, I have a daughter that I want you to marry. This daughter of mine, there are a few problems. 1, she's deaf. 2, she's blind. 3, she's dumb. She can't speak. I want you to marry my daughter. My daughter's in that tent, go on view and then come. Allahu Akbar. Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani went, their father went inside. The father's name was Abu Musa, Dost Jangi. Abu Musa Salih, Dost Jangi. Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani's father went inside and he seen the most beautiful woman of that time. Who could see, who could hear, who could speak. He came out and he said, King, you said my wife will be deaf, dumb and blind. Your daughter is deaf, dumb and blind. This one is beautiful. She can see, she can hear and everything. And what did the father mean? My daughter is deaf. She hasn't heard the voice of no ghair mahram. She's blind because she's never seen a ghair mahram. And she's dumb because she's never spoken to a ghair mahram. My daughter is the purest of the pure. And you will marry my daughter. Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani's father married Khair Sayyidah Fatima. Not Sayyidah Fatima, the daughter of Rasulullah ﷺ. This is 400-500 years after. Married. They got married when you have parents who are as a mother who is as pure as Sayyidah Fatima, and you have a father as pious as Abu Musa Dost Jangi, then the awlad and offspring will be like Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. When you have parents like that. Today's parents, the lad is a drug dealer, gets married to a girl, Allah knows best about her chastity, whether she's pure or not pure, because of how bad it is out there. And I'm not saying everyone's bad, don't take me in a very specific context, I'm speaking generally. When you have an impure mixture, what's going to happen? Allah knows best, something pure might come. Maybe awlad will turn out good. Ultimately Allah is who guides, not me and you. We can't make that assessment. But when you have haram and haram together, when you put haram on the table, and then your children do haram, why is it people turn to the Imam and say, Imam Sahib, my kid's doing haram? Imam Sahib will say, but you feed him. You are claiming benefits when you have enough money in your account. Is it lawful for you to claim that benefit when you are not even under the criterion to claim benefit? And then your children ain't right. In that time, chalo, there was no benefit. But look at the precaution these people took. Another example of this precaution and taqwa is a woman. She used to weave. When she used to weave, one night the government's procession, there was a government procession going on. And she used to have a small candle by which she used to weave with. The government's procession was walking, and because they had so many lights with them, her weaving increased. She began to weave more and more quickly. Afterwards she thought to herself, look, that weaving that increased, the amount that I've covered, in the time when there was more light, the profit that I make from that which is sold, is that profit halal for me or haram? Now, what does this tell you? If I've got this light, I'm making something, all the other lights come on, it helps me, increases me. No doubt it's not haram. It's fine. It's jaiz. But look at this precaution. What a question. This woman came to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and said, Imam Ahl-Sunnat, Imam Ahmad, tell me, this is what's happened. Is this money halal for me or haram for me? If I sell this, will it be halal or haram? I said, question, you tell me, who are you? There can only be one woman who could ask this question at this time. And when she removed her veil, it was Sayyidina Bishr Hafi's sister. Bishr Hafi, the great wali of Allah Almighty, his sister had so much taqwa. Shar'an, according to the Islamic law, whatever she earned was halal. But her piety, precaution, she wanted to know, actually, is this allowed for me or isn't it allowed? This precaution that this woman, it is this taqwa that has left our hearts. Never mind precaution on what's halal and haram or what's doubtful. Brothers, we know it's haram and people are doing haram. Like you find people trying to justify drugs and alcohol. Trying to justify this country, if we look at it from a Western perspective, it is a major issue that they are struggling to deal with. But on the same hand, it's the same country that promotes drugs and alcohol. It's the same country that promotes alcohol. Football teams are sponsored by alcohol. Adverts, alcohol. Why? Because a large bulk of the income that is generated in this country is made from alcohol. So on one hand, they are closing the pubs early. But on the other hand, they have advertisements. On one hand, they're trying to curb the issue of binge drinking. On the other hand, every off-license is selling it. When you have this happening, when you have a mixture of two things here, then the people in between, they will keep doing it. We live in a country where it's rife. Now, one Muslim brother going to open a business, restaurant. Calls Imam Sahib. Imam Sahib khatam parana. ठीक है. The Imam will go to do the khatam. Imams always do khatam, that's what they're known for. The Imam goes to the khatam. There are bottles there, but there's chadar over it. No matter how much dua this Imam Sahib makes of barakat in this business, those bottles are still there. Until those bottles ain't off those shelves, how much barakat will come in that business? How much barakah? Nabi alayhi salatu salam said, the one who carries alcohol, the one who drinks, the one who supplies, the one who imports, the one who exports, the one who makes money from it, the one who makes profit from it, all of these people, the one who makes alcohol, the one who squeezes the grapes and everything to make it, all these people, Allah Ta'ala's la'na is upon these people. Allah's curse is on these people. Nabi alayhi salatu salam said, the one who drinks alcohol in this dunya, in the akhirah he will be deprived of alcohol. Allah Ta'ala's Habib alayhi salatu salam said, the one who is a mudminu khamar, an alcoholic, on the day of Qiyamah, he will be distanced from the gardens of Jannatul Firdaus, a distance of 500 years. The one who drinks alcohol will not enter into Jannatul Firdaus. Jannat is haram upon the person who drinks alcohol. And today, our boys will go out to the nightclubs, to the pubs, openly. And yeah, bro, order me a Bacardi Breezer. Bro, order me a JD, Jack Daniels. Brother, you find sisters and brothers today, young lads, they will have Coke bottles, bottles of Boost and Red Bull, and they'll put the odd JD inside there. Little mixture. How do you know what's in there? Brother, I've sat with people who had this much sharam that they'd go out and then mix it. You know, when they got too much for their head, they didn't know who was in front of them, around them. You know what they started doing? They started mixing in front of them. Because they didn't know. It sounds funny, but these men were so lost in the end. They didn't care if their dad was sat there, their mum was sat there. As long as I'm happy. This is the state that we find very quickly now. Our young brothers and sisters are going towards. Because of a lack of jobs, income, all these reasons are leading. And these reasons are leading to what? These young people resorting to drugs and alcohol. Thinking they will find happiness in that. Thinking they will find satisfaction in that. They think that everything will be fine. What they fail to understand and realize is that when they go into this more and more, their life's getting more and more difficult and hard. I've had brothers and sisters approach me. Imam Sahib, I was a drug dealer. Imam Sahib, I'm a drug addict. What do I do? Where do I go? And when you find a lad, 10 years he's been in this game. 10 years he's been on the street. 10 years he's been running the show. You think it's easy for that guy now to let everything go? It's not going to be easy, but that's the test. That's the change their ways. Brothers and sisters, these people have changed. Left all their ways and habits. Left everything that was bad for them. Because that light entered their heart. The thing is, my brothers and sisters, this light hits every person's heart. Some hearts accept the light. Some hearts don't want that light. Some hearts are too dark that they don't allow that light to come in. Every time you commit a sin, immediately after you should do tawbah. For when you do tawbah, innal hasanat yudhibna sayyi'at. In the Quran, Allah Almighty said, indeed good deeds, they remove bad deeds. After every bad deed to a good deed. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, they said it themselves when they gave advice to Sayyidina Abu Dhar or Ghaliban or Sayyidina Mu'az. They said, Mu'az, follow every good deed, every bad deed with a good deed. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. And have good character with the people. Be in this dunya as if you're a poor person. All these sayings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they weren't just said. You think alcohol wasn't an issue in the Prophet's time? Of course it was. You think Allah Ta'ala prohibited alcohol in one verse? Over a period of 4 verses, Allah Ta'ala prohibited alcohol. Over a period of 4 verses, Allah Ta'ala said this thing is haram for you, not good for you. It was a gradual process. The day when the final verse of alcohol was revealed, that alcohol is haram, you can't go near it. You know what Sayyidina Umar said? That every bottle in our houses, we took them, we smashed them, such that in the streets of Medina Munawwara there was alcohol flowing. And everyone was saying, today Allah has made alcohol haram. Allah has made alcohol haram. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam would tell the Sahaba, towards the end of time, a sign of the day of judgment will be that alcohol will increase. You will find an increase in alcohol. And how true. Every corner, there might be a bottle, a sharab bottle here, a bottle of alcohol here. Now, Muslims are taking alcohol into their own houses and in their fridges. It's happening. We can't deny it. Because Iman has weakened. And shaitan for us has increased in our lives. Iman has become too weak. And I always put this question to the brothers and sisters that listen. That imagine your Iman to be like a bar. You know, a power bar. And when you have to analyze yourself. That how much Iman do I have? And how much of shaitan is there? How much of my nafsaniya is there? And some people will say, I have 10% Iman, 90% shaitan. I have 50% Iman, 50% shaitan. You know yourself better than anyone. If tomorrow haram was in front of you, will your Iman speak louder or will you allow shaitan to speak louder? What will speak? And we see the lads when they sat with the boys, and you see even the boys can be shaitan. You see these boys that we hang around with that make you do bad, whose army are they from? They're not from the Rahman's army. Sadly they are part of Shaitan's army. Shaitan has got them on lockdown. Shaitan has got them on locks. These people morning, evening, shaitan, shaitan. Whether it's drinking, whether it's abusing, whether it's drug trafficking, whether it's fraud, whether it's any kind of fraud, whether it's stealing, whether it's adultery, prostitution, whatever it may be. They are 24 hours, 7 days a week with shaitan. Shaitan is with them and they make shaitan happen. And unfortunately they become shaitan's army. And they get caught up in this dunya. And when that person's caught, how do you take him out of there? How do you say, brother, save yourself, save your soul? Today, protecting your iman is the most difficult thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do today. Iman is a gift from Allah Almighty. We believe in Allah Almighty. We believe that we will stand before Allah on the Day of Judgment. And we believe we will either be rewarded or punished for whatever our deeds will come out. And we depend on Allah's mercy that Allah rewards us with Jannatul Firdaus. So this is why it's important to understand that these are issues that are happening. These people who are suffering from these issues, one of the main reasons, as I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, is because they're looking to fill this emptiness. And we believe this emptiness is filled with Allah and His Rasul. الَّذِينَ تَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. Allah Ta'ala in the Quran says about qalb and itminan, sukoon and heart, satisfaction and the heart. How will the hearts be satisfied? الَّذِينَ, they are those تَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, that their hearts are satisfied with the remembrance of Allah. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. No doubt it is with the remembrance of Allah do the hearts find satisfaction. This is why you find many young Muslim brothers, on a positive note, they go to weekly zikr gatherings. They go there to remember Allah Ta'ala. And they say and they describe it as an intoxication. You know, these people, they describe it, and I don't mean intoxication here in the manner of drugs or alcohol. This dhikr that they're doing, it intoxicates their hearts and intoxicates their soul with what? The love of Allah Almighty. It's that love. You know, Aziz Mia, he has that qawali called Me Sharabi, Me Sharabi. The elders here will have heard it. Me Sharabi, Sharabi, Me Sharabi. Yeah? People who heard that, who are jahil, who don't know the deen, who don't have understanding, they say, what is Aziz Mia going on about here? Me Sharabi, Sharabi, I'm a drinker, I'm an alcoholic. When you actually listen to him, and you listen to the full qawali, he starts talking about Ghazali. He talks about Rumi. He talks about all these great men of Allah. And he says, why is it that I'm saying this? That I am intoxicated in the love of Allah. I am a drunkard in the love of Allah Ta'ala. If you read Rumi's poetry, he talks about that a person should become so deep in the love of Allah that he's a drunkard. And he keeps going to the mehkhana. What is the mehkhana? Keeps going to the, to make you understand, the pub. It's not actually a pub. He goes to that tavern, that land. He goes to that tavern. He keeps going there, and he says to the saki, give me more. Who's the saki? Saki is the drink supplier. He says, give me more. Give me more what? Somebody who doesn't understand, he says, give me more G&D. Give me gin. But for an ashik, when he goes to the saki, he goes to his shaykh, he says, give me more. Give me more what? Give me more love of Allah and His Rasul. Supply me with the love of Allah and His Rasul. Give me more. And these shuyukh give them. For these shuyukh take from Rasulullah salatu wasalam. When you drink from that fountain of Rasulullah salam, then you fall in love with Allah Almighty. Drink from that fountain. Fall in love with Allah. Become must in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That in reality is the real intoxication. And I'm here talking in metaphorical terms. Don't go out there and say, this Maulvi is preaching drink. No. He's preaching drink from the love of Allah. Replace it. Look, Bishr Hafi, he had a bad habit. What was he? He used to drink. Bishr Hafi used to drink a lot. Bishr Hafi's drink was replaced. When he lifted the name of the ground that had Allah's name on it, when he lifted the paper that Allah had Allah's name on it, and he put that paper on a high part, Allahu Akbar. That night Bishr Hafi has a dream. Voice comes in the dream and says, Bishr, Today you lifted my name, you clean my name. Tomorrow we will elevate your name and clean your name. In this dunya and in the akhirah. Bishr Hafi the night before was drunk by the love of this dunya. By the morning, he was drunk in the love of Allah Almighty and the akhirah. Look how Allah changed the great Bishr. Such that he became an example for mankind. If people like the great Bishr, to the guidance of Allah Almighty, were guided and changed, then we should take this as a positive example and role model. That we should also intend and want to change our ways. Most of you sat here are probably not drug dealers. You're not drinking alcohol. You might sit here and think, what relevance is this speech to me? This has no relevance to me. Maybe you have a friend. Maybe you have a family member who is suffering from these problems. Then you tell them and you talk about this advice that I've given you. Your job is now to go and spread this advice to those people. Your job is to show these bayans to those people. And say, brother, take a moment and listen to this talk. It might have an effect on you, influence you. Funny thing now, some guys deal and they have my speech on in the car as well. They're doing that and they got that. Yeah, come on, man. Don't put me part of it. And this is meant to help you change, become a better person. So this is why take heed to what has been said. Most importantly and first and foremost, in all my bayans, I talk to myself. I talk to myself, then I talk with the people. You see, talking with the people and talking at the people, there's a difference. When you talk at the people, that's a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I talk with the people like a brother talks to a brother. Which rules out this accusation that ulama preach to us. No, we don't like preaching. We like talking to the brothers on a level so that they may understand. Understand that if you're older than me, a younger brother is giving you advice. And if I'm older than you, that an elder brother is giving you advice. May Allah Ta'ala accept this advice that has been given. Allah forgive me if I've said any wrong. All wrong is from me. All good is from Allah and His Habib. Sayyidina wa Nabiyuna Muhammadur Rasulullah Sallallahu Ta'ala Alayhi wa Sallam. The du'as of my mother and father and my teachers. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Young people to physically stay away from drugs. We promote sport, that they should spend time to play football, cricket, these things to keep fit. Not to waste time, as wasting time is not good, it's not allowed. To keep fit, go to the gym for the intention of becoming strong for the sake of Allah, not to show people. Hang around with good people. Young people most of the time are in school. Hang around with good crowds. Educate yourself.